We have gotten this piece to the point where we are ready to do something to the top. To see the veneer repairs done to this piece, check out last week's video. This week we'll be doing the paint process. I want to seal it because like this is poplar. If you go to put stain on this, what's going to happen with that poplar, it's going to go black. If I went to put an espresso on this or a walnut or something like that, it's just going to go black. I'm going to go ahead and seal this piece, seal the top, and that will let me see how this wood grain looks. Also, it will let me stain it later if I decide to do that. What I have is a 2-pound cut of shellac. If you don't know how to mix your own shellac, there's videos on that. We'll link them below, but it's the most economical way. Just want to wipe it down, make sure that there's no sanding dust on it. So just got my dauber ball, which is basically just cotton wrapped in cheesecloth. I'm just going to go across and back, just overlapping. Now, if you make a mistake with shellac, here I've missed, but I'm not going to go back and try and fix that now, because it'll just make more of a mess. We'll get it on the next round, and then that way I'll know that everything is sealed up nice. But this wood has been sanded so much, stripped so much, especially if you bleach wood. I know a lot of people are bleaching right now. If you bleach and then try to go back and stain, what's going to happen is that wood is going to turn really, really dark. This is the vanity top, and we're just going to seal it as well. While we're waiting on the shellac to flash, let's go ahead and start priming some of these pieces that we know are going to end up being painted. We're going to use a Ben's shellac base primer. That will help to block the tannins that are going to bleed through on this. I am almost 100% sure that we will have bleed through, but we're just going to go ahead and keep priming until we get rid of that. And then we can start adding some color to this piece. Now remember, this piece is for me, not for resale, so we're gonna go with something a bit on the wild side. We've got 2 coats of shellac on this now, and I like the color as it is, so I think I'm gonna leave it as is. What I don't like though is the poplar. It's got a green tint to it. I have a plan for that. It's time to start taking this mirror apart and getting it prepped up, and it is pretty gross, so let's get started. Now the way the back is, it would be quite difficult for me to take the back off. I could, but I don't really want to, and it wouldn't get me to these side pieces. So I'm going to leave the back alone. If I pull these moldings off, I believe I can pull these mirrors out pretty easily. If I'm lucky, it's going to have a date, possibly a manufacturer under the mirror. But I'm usually not so lucky. Let's hope. Okay, and we can just pull this mirror out like this. There's a little bit of damage on it, but it's not terrible. And once the molding is on, you don't really see it. All right, this one does not want to come off quite as easily. So if I break it, at least you all can, it'll be on camera so y'all can witness it. Wouldn't I be devastated if I broke it at this point? I really think it's gunk holding it together. All right, we're gonna go for a different approach. And we're just gonna take the sides off and slide it this way because that does not want to come off and I don't want to break it. Aha. Am I gonna have enough room is the question. Is it gonna let me do it? Pickles. Ah, now we got it. All right, I think I might be able to get under there. Woo. Nice. This is amazing workmanship. They've actually cut a curve to match the molding. I expected that it would just be kind of straight across, but they've curved out the molding on this. That's a lot of craftsmanship. I was really hoping for something here. All right, and now I can take this molding off here. Okay. Same stamp, same date. So it's all original glass. Now, when you're painting with a roller, always remember to let the roller do the work. If you put pressure and bear down on that roller, that's how you end up with roller marks. So if you say, I'm just barely holding this roller, just barely, let the roller do the work. Now, if you've got to get into some little grooves like this, that's understandable, but go back over it with no pressure and it'll take those marks right out and you will have a nice smooth finish. And this was actually a mist tint that I picked up and then put it through my blender and made a chalk paint out of it with calcium carbonate. If you want to see how I make my own chalk paint, there's a video. We'll put the link for that video in the tab below. Okay, everybody, so we got our base paint on this, and this is one coat. And I like the color, but this is to go in my dressing room, and my dressing room is going to be very over the top girly. I want some bling. I want some metallics. I want it just over the top, this piece. And because it's for me, we can do that without having to worry, is it too over the top that it won't sell? So let's have fun with this. Don't want to use a dry brush. So let's give that a little bit of a mist. So I'm just putting a bunch of these on a plate that I can dip into. I have no vision on this piece, just that I want to create movement, drama, and bling. A lot of bling. It's all about the bling. So let's just start putting it on. Make some bling. Now, don't let them dry out. That is the key to getting metallics to blend together, is don't let them dry. Oh, I'm feeling that one. A little bit of this. Might have been a little too happy on that green there, so let's take some of that out. Just give us a little spritz so we don't dry out. Now, if I just keep working that green, I can move it around, add it in different places, and take some of it out. I want some, but I don't want the piece to be green. I want to go more towards those light blue tones. The thing is that even if I've got too much green in that, and let's say that this was a total wreck and that I couldn't get it fixed, you can always go back over, do another coat of base coat, and start over. There's no need to ever get upset when painting a piece, because it's paint. It's paint, and you can just go back and fix anything. Now, when it comes to putting a base coat on when you're going to do a metallic, if you want a lot of bling, I suggest using a lighter base under your metallic. You always want to put some sort of base under your metallic. But if you want a lot of shimmer, use a light one. If you want a hint of shimmer, use a darker one. Now see the feet, I wanted them a little bit different. So on my feet, I've just got my primer, my white Ben's primer on there. And you can tell that they are quite light compared to the rest of the piece. Now, that's just one coat. We will come back and do some more. I've bought quite a few decoupage tissues, and these came from Zazzle. We'll put the link at the bottom. I think they're absolutely stunning, but this one I'm going to put on the sides, but I need only half of it for each side. That way I've got one going one way and one going the other. So I'm going to tear them apart. And the reason that you want to tear rather than just cut them is you don't want any raw edges. It's just going to look like you've just, well, put a piece of tissue on there and that's it. And I'm just going to wet where I want my tear to be. Then it'll just tear off where you made your little wet line quite easily. Now I'm just using just a clear top coat to put this on. So you get them about where I want them. Start putting the top coat on. Now seeing as this will be the same top coat that I'll be using on this piece anyway, it's fine. And we're just going to take our saran wrap that we pulled off, and we're just going to put that and use that to get everything to lay nice and flat. And this will let you take all those air bubbles out without tearing the tissue. And then just do a layer of top coat over it. I've put my Peacock in the center of the drawer, and this is where two drawers meet together. But that's okay because we can cut it when it's dry. Doesn't it look beautiful and regal? Okay, so we let the decoupage dry overnight, and now we need to make it so the drawers will open. So we're just going to put a knife in there, give it a bit of a cut. There we go. And today we're just going to start blending out the edges and making everything just look like he's supposed to be there, not that he's just stuck there. We're going to do the same thing on the sides. Got my same paint palette from yesterday, and I've got a big brush and a bit of a smaller brush, and we'll just see what we can do. If your brush starts dragging a bit, just use your mister bottle. Give it one little spritz and then just keep going. And everything will still blend in real well. Always good to step back and take a look at your project, because that will tell you where you need to work. I think I'm going to let this dry and then come back and do a bit of fixing down here. This seems to have, yeah, just not quite there. I am wanting to dress up this edge of the top of the dresser. And I've already got a base coat of paint on it, and it'll be fine. And I'm going to do that by using some foil. And I order this from a company called Artsyville, and they have all kinds of foils. I mean, just so many different styles and colors. Your imagination is your limit on this. I mean, they have everything. It's amazing. What you want to do is get your foil, and I prefer to scrunch my foil up. I don't like that kind of uniform look, so I scrunch mine up. If it were a big piece, I would scrunch it as well. And then you put on the adhesive. On a big project, you can roll it on or you can brush it on. And you just want a thin coat all over wherever you are going to put foil. Now, I also love this adhesive when I am doing paintable wallpaper, because after you leave it sitting for about 45 minutes or so, 30-40 minutes, depending on temperature and humidity, it's really, really tacky, and it will stay tacky until you put whatever you're going to put over it. If you order this adhesive, you will fall in love with it. It is fantastic. Now, once your adhesive is tacky, just take your foil and put it where you want it to be. Now, what you don't want to do is down here at this raw edge, I don't want a line to show up. So I'm not going to go all the way down to that edge. I'm going to overlap another piece onto it so that you don't have a hard stop. And you do the same thing if you were doing this on a large piece. And then just take a rag and just kind of burnish it on there. And then get a brush. Now, if you're doing, say, the top of a dresser, I would suggest getting one of those big floor scrubby brushes. Just something with some bristles that have a bit of oomph to them. And then just start going over it. And then just pull it off. We're going to get a little more adhesive on there and do that again. But you just keep going back over it, and you can see, I hope you can see through it, you can see where the foil has come off. So you still got little pieces of that foil that you can keep using. Like I say, it depends on heat and humidity, and I used my heat gun to speed that process up, and that's probably not a good idea, but it's a bit cool in my shop today as this is winter. So, but this foil works fantastic. I used this exact same foil. This is some leftover that I had from another project. I think it was one of the very first YouTube videos, and so the sound is not very good, and well, filming has gotten some improvements as well. So, but you can go back and see how I did that. But I did do the top of a dresser with this same foil. So we got these pieces pretty close to painted up and finished. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and put this vanity back together. Alex is going to give me a hand with this one. All right, right, so that we don't mar our finish, we're just going to put a rag over this end.
All right, we're bringing it in nicely, actually. Yeah, and we're closing this gap up nicely using this. I'm going to release this and we're going to go to the top.
Okay.
Because we've got a little tiny gap up there still. Yeah, and then we're closing this up now. So.
Is it closing?
Yeah, that's perfect.
And then you just leave that till morning, and then that gap's all nicely closed, all glued up, and it'll be good to go in the morning. When you use long clamps or you have your extensions and you clamp, because this sticks out so far, we found that it's quite beneficial if you put a towel, kind of a bright colored towel on the end, because you can kind of forget about it when you're walking around your shop. You can injure yourself. That comes from someone who's done that. So I'm going to do it. Now that the clamps are off, we can see that that gap is all glued nicely, so everything's nice and solid, feeling really good. What we're going to do now is go ahead and paint up some molds that I made so that we can put them on this piece as well. I think it needs a little something else. I've made these same molds several times, so there's videos on them, and we'll link those down below. So check those out if you're not familiar with the redesign with Prima molds. Layering those colors lets some of it sink down into the grooves, and some of it stays on the high parts, and this will give you more depth to a piece. And you'll notice I don't change my brush out when I'm doing this, because the colors just add layers. This just gives me different colors, as if you had shadows and light play on things in nature. What we're going to do is going to give a little bit of detailing, and I'm doing this with this. I'm doing this with the Art Deco metallics, and this color is Festive Green. And what I'm doing is I'm just going into all of these really deep carvings and just bringing them forward with just a little bit of that festive green. This just kind of brings those moldings up just a bit. In the 1930s, somebody spent a bit of time carving these, and we just want to appreciate them, not let them fade into the background. I'm going to top coat this with the General Finishes gloss top coat. The gloss is going to help to keep the metallics metallic. Okay, so we have finished this project. This has been an epic project. Let's take a look at what this piece looked like before. The mirror came out absolutely beautiful. It has all of the old marks in these 1930s, 1940s mirrors that you would expect. The top, you can see where I did a veneer replacement here. It blends in pretty good. I'm pleased with it. Foiling that we did, the colors, I absolutely love them. I absolutely love them. I am over the moon with how this piece turned out. Loving my peacocks. Got the top piece back on the dresser, and the top came out beautiful on it as well. But all of that metallic blending really paid off. I wish that I could have kept some of the old veneer, but I think if you're gonna have to pull the veneer off because it's damaged, you may as well go all in and paint it up beautifully and make it a nice statement piece. And I think this definitely makes a statement. But all of the veneer that was saved from these two pieces, I will hold on to them, and perhaps the next time that I have a piece that has damage, I can use that veneer to be sure and fix veneer on another antique, and that way start building up a collection of veneers and hopefully be able to save more old pieces. I hope you enjoyed the process. Everything that we've used in the videos will be linked down below. If you want to support the channel more and you need any of those items, please click the link below. That way we make just a little bit of money off of it. It doesn't cost you any more. And we will look forward to seeing you on the next one.